Daniel seems to be cheating on me. My stomach twists with anxiety as Walter and I sit in his sunlit patio discussing my future. Because of the sensitive topic, a long silence follows our conversation. My phone rings, breaking the heavy atmosphere that hangs between us like a fog. It's a call from Daniel, his name flashing on my screen making my heart race with dread. If he discovers I'm at his parents' house, he'll get angry and yell at me again, his face turning that familiar shade of crimson. I nervously excused myself and answered the phone, my fingers trembling slightly against the cool surface. Daniel said something unexpected, his voice unusually urgent. Dad collapsed. I'm going back home. What? But Walter is, I almost blurt out, catching myself as I glance at my father-in-law. Walter, who had a somber look just moments ago, now has a mischievous smile and looks about 10 years younger, his eyes twinkling with sudden inspiration. It seems he has a plan forming behind those experienced eyes. My in-laws and I are fed up with Daniel's tyrannical behavior that's been suffocating us for years. This unexpected lie feels like our chance to finally break free from his emotional prison. I decided to follow Walter's lead, a surge of hope warming my chest for the first time in months. My name is Eleanor Foster, 45 years old. I met my husband Daniel Foster when I was 23, and we got married. In the beginning we were happy, his smile lighting up my world each morning, but after we both turned 34, Daniel started to change. He developed a bad habit of taking out his frustration on others when he was in a bad mood, his words cutting deeper than knives. It probably started when he got transferred to a new department at the pharmaceutical company and struggled with his work. He became visibly more irritated, often belittling me with cruel comments that made my chest tighten with hurt. Even his parents, Walter and Helen, scolded him multiple times for his behavior, but each time Daniel rebelled and became more stubborn, his face hardening with resentment. Eventually his parents and I were exhausted by his attitude, and to avoid provoking him, we rarely argued back. I'd be lying if I said I never thought about divorce, but I lost my parents in a car accident when I was a teenager, so I have nowhere else to go. Besides, though my relationship with Daniel is strained, I think of Walter and Helen as my own parents and could never abandon them, their kindness being my only comfort in this emotional desert. What is this dinner? It's inedible. Daniel's harsh voice cuts through our dining room, making me flinch. Tonight's dinner was meatloaf, salad, and soup, but he didn't like it, though I'd spent hours perfecting the recipe. The portions are small, and there's not enough variety. Stop slacking off with the housework. He slams the table with his fist, spilling some of the soup, the liquid spreading across our tablecloth like my shattered efforts. Daniel scowls at the spill and clicks his tongue. Hey, what are you spacing out for? Clean it up quickly. Yes. I wipe the table with a cloth as instructed and take it to the kitchen, my shoulders hunched with defeat. Daniel spits out more insults at my slumped back, each word a needle in my confidence. Go to the store and get some ready-made food. I can't eat this. It ruins my appetite. If you care about a man who works hard, go now. Sure. If I don't answer, he'll yell again, so I quietly reply and leave the house in a hurry, the cool evening air a brief relief from the tension inside. Since it's late, most of the ready-made food is sold out, but I buy some ham cutlets and head back home, my stomach churning with dread. I find that the dinner has been completely eaten and empty plates are left on the table. Daniel is watching TV with a sour expression, and when he sees me, he clicks his tongue again, the sound like a whip to my spirit. You're so late. I had to settle for that. I'll eat the ready-made food for breakfast. He probably just wanted to annoy me, or maybe he doesn't want to eat while looking at my face, my presence an apparent burden to him. I eat my now cold dinner while listening to the hollow sound of the TV, the food tasteless in my mouth. Since Daniel doesn't help with any housework, I wash both my dishes and the ones he left on the table, my hands red and raw from the hot water. Meanwhile, Daniel just keeps watching TV. He doesn't say a word, as if to show he dislikes my presence, his silence more painful than his shouting. The bath is ready. Even though I call out, Daniel, still upset about dinner, ignores me, staring fixedly at the screen. Once he's in a bad mood, he ignores me for a while, but if I ignore him like he does to me, he gets terribly angry and curses at me. So I always try to act normally even if I don't want to, my smile a carefully practiced mask. I'll take a bath first. After I finish my bath, Daniel is still watching TV, his profile illuminated by the flickering light. It's your turn to take a bath. He ignores me again. I'm used to it, so there's no point in dwelling on it, though the rejection stings like salt in a wound. After waiting a while and seeing no movement, I give up and head to the bedroom first. The laundry and bathroom cleaning aren't done yet, but it can't be helped. I'll take care of the remaining chores tomorrow. With that thought, I fall asleep feeling extremely tired, my dreams my only escape from this cold reality. Hey, you're spending too much money. How can it be decreasing this fast? Daniel's voice booms across our living room, making my shoulders tense with anxiety. I'm trying to save as much as I can, but prices are high, and I get ready-made food for dinner every day, just like you demand, I respond, feeling a flutter of fear in my chest. Are you saying it's my fault? Daniel yells, and I flinch involuntarily. His face turns red with anger, his eyes narrowing with rage that makes my heart pound frantically. Who do you think is providing for you? Know your place. Stop complaining and just do your housework quietly. It seems we won't be having a conversation today either, just another one-sided attack that leaves me feeling hollow inside. I'm sorry, I whisper, my voice barely audible. Save money. It's my hard-earned money. Treat it more carefully. His words cut through me like ice. It's not your money, I think to myself, feeling a spark of rebellion that I dare not voice. Despite being so obsessed with money, Daniel hates the idea of me going out to work. We don't have kids, and I think if I went to work, we wouldn't have to rely solely on his money, but he stubbornly refuses to allow it. When I ask him why, his reasons change each time, like shifting sand beneath my feet. Once he said, "You can't even handle housework properly. How can you do a job?" His words stung, especially since I once worked at an accounting firm before our marriage. Another time he yelled, "Are you saying we can't live on my salary alone? Don't embarrass me. You just want to waste money on yourself and have fun." He's also yelled that at me, glaring fiercely, his face inches from mine. He just doesn't want me to have freedom where he can't see me, especially after I turn 35, his control tightening like a vice around my life. Whenever I tried to go out with friends or buy something, he'd shout, "Whose money do you think you're spending?" making me feel like a thief in my own home. He firmly believes that if I start working, I'll neglect the housework. I got tired of trying to persuade Daniel, so now I just do what he says. When he's angry, I just keep saying yes and sorry, waiting for his anger to pass like a violent storm. You're terrible at managing money. I earn enough, but because of you, we never get any financial relief. Daniel would rant like this, depositing his salary into his account and only giving me a fixed amount for household expenses that never increases despite inflation. The rising cost of living that's all over the news isn't taken into account, and the household budget has been the same since we got married, leaving me to stretch every dollar until it screams. Naturally, it's not enough, so when I say we don't have enough money, he accuses me of being bad at managing money or wasting it, though I track every penny in a secret notebook. Despite this, he always insists I buy ready-made food for dinner, so his actions and words don't match up, creating a maze of contradictions I can never navigate successfully. Once I bought ready-made food in advance, thinking I was being efficient, and when I served it, he got incredibly angry, yelling, "Stop wasting money," his fist pounding the table so hard my water glass tipped over. After that, I realized he just wanted to harass me, so I avoid unnecessary actions that might trigger his rage. His reaction when I bought ready-made food in advance was so terrible, leaving me shaking for hours afterward. He's bad enough now, but back then he stayed angry for a week, ignored me, and took his frustration out on the house, leaving marks on the walls that I still see even after repainting. Hi Eleanor. This is a souvenir from our trip. Please take it. Oh, Eleanor, you look worn out, Helen said, her kind eyes filled with concern that makes my throat tight with emotion. The only relief in these stifling days is the weekly visits from my in-laws, Walter and Helen, their presence like cool water in a desert. Welcome, Walter, Helen. Thanks for the gift. I'm fine, don't worry, I tried to hide the exhaustion that I know shows on my face. They're so kind, their warmth wrapping around me like a protective blanket. It's hard to believe they're Daniel's parents. They always care about me, noticing things Daniel never sees. They've given up on changing Daniel completely, but they still try to improve the situation, thinking of ways to help that won't make things worse. Daniel, I heard from someone that you often say it's tough at work. Why don't you move back in with us? Even saving on rent would make a big difference, right? Walter suggests carefully, his consultant's mind always looking for practical solutions. Walter and Helen live comfortably on his consulting pension and her retirement from counseling. They don't have much extra, but they don't need Daniel's money, their needs simple and their lifestyle modest. Indeed, saving on rent would make things easier. Both Walter and I can handle housework, so if we share the chores among the three of us, living together shouldn't be a problem, Helen added, her counselor's training evident in her measured tone. If Eleanor wants, she can work while we take care of the house. Then Daniel wouldn't have to worry about money, Walter concludes, glancing at me with understanding in his eyes. They seem to think Daniel's frustration is because of money, offering a practical solution to the most visible problem. Of course, they know that's not the only reason behind his behavior. They're trying to remove the most manageable stressor, hoping it might ease other tensions too. They choose their words carefully to avoid provoking Daniel, like walking through a minefield with a map. They worry a lot about Daniel taking his anger out on me when they're not around to witness it. It's such a generous offer that I almost nodded immediately, hope fluttering in my chest. But Daniel was different, his reaction instantaneous. He glared at his parents with resentment, his face turning red with anger, veins bulging at his temples. We realized we had failed again, the familiar feeling of defeat washing over us. Daniel exploded, shouting and spitting as he berated us, his rage filling the room like toxic gas. Don't mess with me. Don't talk like I'm not independent. Don't belittle me just because you're my parents. Don't think you can say whatever you want. You're insulting my character. Walter opened his mouth to argue but gave up when Helen touched his arm gently. Once Daniel starts getting angry, nothing anyone says gets through to him. It would just add fuel to the fire, making the explosion even worse. You're the worst. Don't look down on me and think I'll always obey you. You're living on pensions. You just want to rely on my salary, don't you? Well, no way. I won't live with you. I'm independent. I can't take care of you. That's not what we meant, Helen begins softly. Don't talk back. Daniel slammed the table again, and Helen fell silent, her hands trembling slightly in her lap. I thought about how terrible it was for him to speak to his own parents like that, but arguing with him would be pointless and dangerous. He believes he's always right and everyone else is wrong, his worldview warped but unshakable. Besides, it's one thing for him to take his anger out on me, but if he ever physically lashed out at his parents, just thinking about it is terrifying, my stomach clenching with fear. Don't ever interfere with my life again. It makes me sick. I'm going out. Daniel's final words hang in the air like daggers. He stormed out of the house in a rage, his footsteps thundering down the hallway. The front door slammed shut with a deafening crash that made the windows rattle. He always makes loud, aggressive noises when angry. This is probably part of his harassment toward us as well, another way to make us flinch and fear him. In the space Daniel left, Walter and Helen slumped down, suddenly looking their age, defeat etched in the lines of their faces. Eleanor, we're sorry for being such lousy parents. It's our fault for not raising him well, Walter said, his voice heavy with guilt that breaks my heart. Please don't say that. That's absolutely not true, I protested, reaching out to touch their hands. I couldn't think of them as lousy parents when they had repeatedly tried to correct Daniel's tantrums throughout his life. Besides, when I first met him, Daniel was polite and kind, his smile genuine and his manner considerate. It must have been thanks to his parents' upbringing, their values evident in his earlier behavior. He's an adult now, approaching 50. Parenting and influences aren't excuses anymore at his age. Daniel's actions are Daniel's responsibility, so there's no need for you two to feel guilty for what he's become. Watching them feel so hurt by Daniel's actions was painful for me, my chest tight with empathy. No matter how old a child gets, they're still their parents' child in their hearts. But I believe there's no need for them to feel responsible for a son over 40 who chooses cruelty. I might be out of line saying this, but Daniel was kind until he turned 35. It's because you two raised him well. It's unfortunate he changed, but that's his responsibility, I said gently, wanting to ease their burden. At first, I thought he was just busy with work or stressed from a new department. In hindsight, maybe that was the problem. Daniel became more spoiled and kept deteriorating, like something inside him broke, Walter added, shaking his head sadly. Thinking that way, I feel more responsible as his wife than his parents do, wondering if I could have done something differently. When I shared my thoughts, they quickly denied it with urgency, Helen's counselor training coming to the fore. That's not true. In an adult relationship, even as a married couple, feeling responsible for the other person's actions is unhealthy, Helen said firmly, her eyes holding mine. Eleanor, you've done nothing wrong. We can't thank you enough for staying with him, though we worry about you constantly, Walter's kind eyes filled with concern. I feel the same way about you both, I reply, feeling tears prick behind my eyes. For a moment, they looked surprised, then smiled a little, warmth returning to their expressions. It seemed they realized it was strange to feel responsible for Daniel's behavior. Since I'm not responsible for his choices, there's no way my in-laws are either, the realization bringing a sense of shared relief. Feeling a bit lighter, we had tea for about 30 minutes and then parted ways, the warmth of their company lingering even after they left. A few days later, I made plans to visit my in-laws, my heart lighter at the thought of spending time with them. Hello, Walter, Helen. Here's a little something for you as promised. I handed them a box of homemade cookies that I carefully hid from Daniel. I visited their home on a Wednesday afternoon. Since it was during the weekday, Daniel wouldn't find out because he was at work at the pharmaceutical company. I knew he'd be furious if he discovered I visited them secretly, his face contorting with that familiar rage that made my stomach clench with fear. Glad you could come, Eleanor. Come on in. Let's have lunch. You didn't have to bring anything. Thank you. Let's enjoy it together, Helen said warmly, her eyes crinkling with genuine pleasure at seeing me. Unlike Daniel, my in-laws are incredibly kind, their home a sanctuary of peace that makes my shoulders relax instantly. They always warmly welcome me even though we're not blood-related, treating me with the love I imagine parents should show. It was so enjoyable preparing lunch together in Helen's sunlit kitchen, the familiar routine of cooking alongside her bringing me rare moments of happiness. After a while, as we sat down to eat the meal we'd prepared together, Walter looked at me directly and asked. So what's this about? It's about Daniel, right? His consultant's directness coming to the fore. Usually at this point, they'd start apologizing for their son, but respecting what I said last time about responsibility, they didn't. That made things easier for all of us, the absence of unnecessary guilt creating space for honest conversation. We all struggle with Daniel, Helen said gently, her counselor's perceptiveness evident in her understanding expression. Well, it seems like Daniel is cheating on me, I finally said, the words sticking in my throat despite my rehearsing them all morning. I'm sorry, Eleanor, but I'm not too surprised. Right? With the way he's been acting, it's not unexpected, Walter responded, exchanging a knowing glance with Helen. Their bluntness made me laugh despite the situation, a release of tension I desperately needed. Honestly, I felt the same way, the revelation bringing clarity rather than shock. Yeah. While he was in the shower, I saw a notification on his phone, a message from a woman named Olivia saying she had fun on Sunday. After that, I knew it was wrong, but I checked Daniel's phone, I admitted, my cheeks warming with slight embarrassment. The password was his birthday, so predictable. When I checked the messaging app, I found explicit exchanges with a young woman from his marketing department. And I remember being astonished by his recklessness. It seems the cheating started around the time of his department transfer when he was 35. I continue, the memory of those messages still making my stomach turn. I see. He needed money for his affair, so he started yelling at you to save money while splurging on her, Walter concludes, his business mind quickly connecting the financial patterns. Walter sighs deeply, his face clearly showing his exasperation, the lines around his eyes deepening with disappointment. Even with that difficult personality, he somehow managed to have an affair. In front of his mistress, he's apparently kind and generous, buying her expensive gifts. That's the impression I got from the messages, I added, the irony of it making my chest ache. So all the consequences fall on you and us, while he plays the charming boyfriend elsewhere, Helen says softly, reaching across to squeeze my hand. Reaching this conclusion, the three of us sighed deeply in unison. The delicious meal we made together with my in-laws suddenly seemed tasteless in my mouth. It smelled wonderful, and I know it would normally be delicious, but I couldn't really enjoy it, my appetite vanishing with our conversation. What should we do? No matter what we say, his personality probably won't change. I could divorce him if things get worse, but Walter and Helen, his blood relatives, don't have that option. So I don't want to run away either. I felt torn between self-preservation and loyalty. I didn't want to burden my in-laws with my problems, their kindness already a debt I could never repay. Breaking the heavy silence that had fallen over us, my phone rang, the harsh sound making me jump. It was a call from Daniel, his name flashing on my screen causing my heart to race with anxiety. Could he have somehow found out I was at his parents' house? Excuse me, I need to take this call, my voice trembling slightly as I rise from the table. I told my in-laws and answered the phone, my palms suddenly slick with nervous sweat. After a tense moment of greeting him normally, Daniel said something unexpected, his voice urgent. Dad collapsed. I'm going back home. What? Walter is, I almost blurt out, catching myself just in time as I look at Walter sitting perfectly healthy across from me. Daniel's voice was so loud that even though it wasn't on speakerphone, his parents could hear him clearly from where they sat. Walter, who seemed to realize something strategic, put his finger to his lips, his eyes suddenly alert and calculating. Walter's mischievous smile made him look 10 years younger, a spark of the successful businessman who had outmaneuvered countless corporate challenges. Following his cue, I kept quiet about his parents being right in front of me and just listened to Daniel, my mind racing with possibilities as Walter began scribbling something on a notepad. 3 days later, still at my in-laws' beautiful suburban home, I got another call from Daniel. Surprised by the multiple missed calls lighting up my phone screen, my heart pounding against my ribs, I answered, and a frantic Daniel yelled into the phone. Where are you right now? What's this divorce paper? Stop messing around. His loud voice was easily heard by everyone around me, his rage crackling through the speaker like electricity. He didn't like that I had left the divorce papers and moved out, his control slipping away like sand through his fingers. Helen gestured for me to put the phone on speaker, her calm demeanor giving me courage, so I did. I'm not messing around. I'm serious, I said, surprised by the steadiness in my voice. What? Don't be naive. You've been a stay-at-home wife all this time. You can't live on your own. How insulting, the words stinging like a slap. Helen and Walter frowned, exchanging glances of disapproval. I answered calmly without any emotion, drawing strength from their silent support. Too bad. I've already got a job. What? Daniel's voice trembled with shock that sent a strange thrill of satisfaction through me. Despite constantly berating me for years, it seemed divorce wasn't convenient for him after all. Naturally, losing a housekeeper who doesn't need a salary would be troublesome for someone so concerned with money. Walter's former consulting colleague was looking for an accounting assistant. He introduced me, believing in skills I'd almost forgotten I had. Dad, he growled, the word more accusation than acknowledgement. Daniel knew well how much his parents cared for me, their kindness a constant source of his resentment. He didn't like it and would complain that they were spoiling me instead of taking his side. Before we got married, I worked at an accounting firm. It's a part-time position for now, but if I work hard, they might hire me full-time. So this divorce is Dad's idea? Don't you have a mind of your own? Daniel's words left me astonished, a cold anger replacing my fear. Did he really think I was just going along with someone else's wishes after years of abuse? If he believed I had no reason to want a divorce, he should reflect on his own behavior instead of blaming others. I endured your awful treatment because Walter and Helen were good to me, but when they said enough, it was clear divorce is the obvious choice, I replied, my voice gaining strength with each word. Who do you think has been supporting you all this time? You're repaying kindness with betrayal, he shouts, his voice cracking with indignation. Normally I would stay quiet at this point, shrinking myself smaller to avoid his wrath. But since I had decided to divorce him, it didn't matter how angry he got anymore. I took this opportunity to voice all the things I had been holding back for years, my chest lightening with each truth spoken. You can't do anything like housework, but you could live in a clean house, eat 3 meals properly, and always go to work in a clean, pressed suit. That's all thanks to me. Do you have any idea how hard it's been to cater to your selfish demands? You're the one who's repaying kindness with betrayal. Geez. He didn't expect me to fight back, his surprise audible even through the phone. Daniel's voice wavered with obvious panic, but he quickly regained his composure and started yelling again, falling back on familiar patterns of intimidation. You've been living off me, so that's the least you could do. I don't owe you anything, and I've been providing for you every day, so I don't deserve this blame from you. Oh really? Is that so? My voice was cold as winter, causing Daniel to falter again, his breathing changing on the other end of the line. He wasn't used to being challenged, but being a prideful person incapable of backing down, he couldn't help but retaliate, walking straight into our trap. What do you want to say? If you have something to say it clearly. And with that, he pulled the trigger on his own downfall, my heart racing with a strange mix of nervousness and anticipation. Then I'll say it. Over the past 3 days, you've been lying about Walter being in the hospital and spending time with your mistress Olivia, haven't you? No way. What are you talking about? I don't understand. I could practically see the beads of sweat forming on Daniel's face, his voice climbing higher with panic. He never expected to be caught in his web of lies. He thought I had no reason to want a divorce and that I didn't have a mind of my own. He didn't anticipate me taking any unexpected actions, his underestimation of me becoming his biggest mistake. I have your conversation logs from the messaging app and photos of you two leaving the hotel 2 days ago, I state calmly, Walter nodding in approval beside me. You spied on me and took secret photos? That's an invasion of privacy. Daniel sputters, grasping at any defense. Don't act all high and mighty after cheating. I snapped back, and Daniel, shocked by my uncharacteristic outburst, falls completely silent for several seconds. My in-laws, who had been watching intently, urged me to continue with encouraging nods. Feeling a bit embarrassed but also emboldened by their support, I relished the chance to finally stand up to Daniel after years of submission. You might not know this, but the hotel you used is run by one of Walter's consulting clients. The cleaning company that services that hotel employs a friend of Helen's from her counseling days, and the restaurant you went to with Olivia is owned by a friend of Walter's from college. They all saw you two together and reported back to Walter and Helen. After you called saying you were coming home because Walter had collapsed, we started gathering evidence of your affair. It turned out that friends of Walter and Helen had witnessed you and Olivia multiple times around town. These friends, knowing you only from childhood, hadn't noticed anything unusual before but were happy to help when asked. I don't know why you were foolish enough to conduct your affair locally, but your mistakes made gathering evidence really easy. So thank you for that, I finished, allowing a hint of satisfaction to color my voice. Daniel is silent on the other end of the line. He's probably speechless, his world crumbling around him. I seize the moment and continue, my confidence growing with every word. I will be demanding alimony from both you and Olivia. Alimony? He finally snaps out of his shocked silence when money is mentioned. Typical of his miserly nature, financial consequences being the only thing that truly gets his attention. Suppressing my contempt for his predictable reaction, I continue, my voice steady and determined. I'm not withdrawing our divorce, so just sign the papers and file them. Otherwise, we'll settle it in court. I've kept a detailed diary of all the mistreatment I've suffered from you over the years. Even though infidelity alone is grounds for divorce, the diary will help me get higher alimony. Originally, I started writing it as a way to calm myself, as a hobby when I felt trapped. Daniel had forbidden me from going out or spending money on myself. So I kept it hidden along with my secret household accounting records. The thought that Daniel's own controlling actions are now backfiring on him makes me feel almost giddy with a sense of justice being served. Goodbye, I say firmly, my finger hovering over the end call button. Daniel was still shouting incoherently on the other end of the line, but I had nothing more to say to him, so I hung up, my hand shaking slightly but my resolve stronger than ever. Eleanor, you look very refreshed, Helen observes with a warm smile, her eyes twinkling with pride. Let's splurge a little on dinner tonight to celebrate your fresh start, Walter suggests, patting my shoulder gently. Despite having no home to return to after the divorce, my in-laws, who had invited me to stay with them without hesitation, continued to treat me like their own daughter. Having endured Daniel's behavior together over the years, we felt a bond stronger than mere family, forged in shared hardship and mutual support. Feeling a mix of embarrassment at being the center of attention and joy at my newfound freedom, I nodded with a big smile that matched theirs, tears of relief pricking at my eyes. Yes. I felt truly lighthearted for the first time in years. Just when I thought it was all over, a commotion happened soon after I started my new job. Hey, you're Eleanor Foster, right? On my way home from work, I turned to the voice calling me. It was Olivia Terrace, Daniel's mistress, her face contorted with rage. Why do I have to pay alimony too? I only kept him around because he was a good sugar daddy. You couldn't control him, so he cheated. Don't drag me into this. Her face was flushed with anger. She swung her designer handbag, ready to attack. My coworker Madeline signaled she was calling the police. Sorry, but the law allows me to claim alimony from my spouse's affair partner. You'll have to chalk it up to poor risk management, I stated calmly. What? Don't mock me, you plain old woman. Jealous because I'm young? Olivia stomped her feet like a child throwing a tantrum. Come to think of it, Daniel acted like a child too. Maybe that's why they found each other. As a parting gift, I'll let you have Daniel instead of alimony. Are you stupid? I don't want an old man like him. Daniel was being abandoned by both his wife and mistress. The police eventually took Olivia away as she screamed, "Let go of me. I'll sue you." Thank you for calling the police, I told Madeline. It's fine. Hang in there, Eleanor. The people at Walter's former company are very kind to me. Later, I saw Daniel was calling. I answered with Officer Gabriel nearby. Eleanor, it's me. I was wrong. I'm sorry. Let's start over, he pleaded, his voice unnaturally humble. Mom and Dad said they can't take care of me anymore. You're all I have left. Don't insult me. I've endured enough mistreatment to feel no pity. Wait, Olivia dumped me. It's a predictable outcome. She got mad about the alimony and said, "You pay it." Then we fought. I lost sight of myself. Please forgive me. I've told you many times it's over. But I'm apologizing here. His groveling instantly changed to anger. Officer Gabriel, who was leaving, stopped and stared. You're at my parents' house. I'm already outside. I'll make you pay. Daniel had again pulled the trigger on his own misfortune. I'm recording this call. What? His voice became meek. There's a police officer here listening. They're contacting others now. Indeed, Officer Gabriel was talking urgently into his radio. No way. That's a lie. You said, "I'll make you pay," and I'm outside the house. That's evidence enough. Daniel started mumbling excuses, but sirens drowned him out. Later, Daniel was ordered to stay away from us. The divorce went smoothly, and he now pays alimony through his new employer, Walter's acquaintance. Rumors about his affair and abuse made his work life difficult. He'll likely quit soon, but no local company would hire him. Olivia quit her job too and sold her luxury items to pay the alimony. Now she works nights and is in debt pursuing a younger man. With Walter and Helen's encouragement, I live with them permanently. They legally adopted me, and we're a real family without Daniel. Dinner's ready. Let's eat. It looks delicious, Eleanor. You're such a great cook. Walter and Helen enjoy my weekend cooking with such delight. Watching them warms my heart. Why don't we go shopping tomorrow? I'll drive. Where should we go? Let's take a trip and eat out on the way back. I lost my parents young and always longed for a family. Though I didn't find it through marriage, I finally found my ideal family here. I'll cherish these people who cherish me. With them loving me, I will be happy forever.